Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to the Rantin Review Pro Wrestling. We are talking today about AEW Dynamite that happened this past week. Had some big surprises on the show and weeks of big surprises. I mean, we might as well just expect this from AEW at this point. They're just going to have surprises. There's going to be big surprises. Might happen a couple a month, maybe once every week like it's been recently. But yeah, there's a lot going on in the world of All Elite Wrestling, and we're going to get into that in this video. Before, of course, I want to remind you guys this is YouTube, so YouTube likes you to give that old Orange Cassidy thumbs up, hitting that like button, subscribe button, and a notification bell. It helps other people know about the channel who are pro wrestling fans. But I appreciate you doing that, and let's get into this week's AEW Dynamite. Eddie Kingston, Chris Jericho. I did not know where that was going. That went back and forth in so many ways. Kingston talking about how he legitimately probably abstained from drinking after that match, so I'm a little worried there about Eddie, but he delivered an awesome promo in here, and then he kind of put it back on Jericho, and like, you're the one with the problem, because you're the one that didn't want to shake my hand. It's not an Eddie Kingston problem, it's a Chris Jericho problem. And Jericho looked like he was kind of agreed to this and come down and be like, all right, I'll shake your hand, right? So they did the whole handshake thing, because Ring of Honor is in season now, and we got 2.0 and Daniel Garcia coming to the ring, and they started a beat down. And you noticed early on, and I noticed this, and I thought it was because Jericho was legitimately hurt, that they would go to beat on Jericho, and Jericho would hold his head, and they would like not really do anything to him. And then Santana and Ortiz came into the ring, and they were gonna do the rescue. And I was like, all right, so, and now I'm thinking through all of this in my head while I'm watching. So I'm like, oh, so is Eddie Kingston going to be the newest member of the Inner Circle? Oh no, that's not what happened. Jericho turned on him. He hit Santana and Ortiz with the bat. He hit Eddie Kingston with the bat. Jake Hager comes out. I'm thinking, well, maybe Jake Hager is going to stay. No, Jake Hager is joining them, and we now have the worst name ever, the Jericho Appreciation Society, JAS. That is the name of the new group. The Inner Circle is no more. Sammy Guevara didn't even bother coming out. Sammy's doing his own thing, breakout star. So that's the end of the Inner Circle. We saw it dissolve. And just like that, after 3 years, the Inner Circle is no more, and we have a new faction. And I think though that, it's a good idea, because Santana and Ortiz kind of are hindered by being in the Inner Circle, and them breaking out with Eddie Kingston, whether or not this is a new LAX or whatever it is, I think that'll be beneficial for them to kind of be able to take more of a frontman role, a spotlight in whatever faction that they're in. Meanwhile, 2.0 and Daniel Garcia definitely will benefit from the rub from Chris Jericho. And then, of course, you got Hager in there as the heavy. So we got a new faction, Jericho's new faction. He's gone back to being heel. I'm wondering if they're going to still play Judas, because it's really weird for somebody to be a despicable heel, but everybody loves to sing his entrance song. So who knows? We'll see. I love the Judas thing, but maybe it's time to retire that too, along with the Inner Circle. Another thing that stood out to me on this night, we had a lot of really quick changes happening here. FTR fires Tully Blanchard. And what I want to note about this, as an old school fan, way back in the day, actually even a little bit before my time, or it was around early my time, Ole Anderson, if you remember, was one of the original Four Horsemen with Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, and Ric Flair and James J. Dillon. And Ole Anderson back in the day was talking about how he had taken time off to go, basically help and cheer on his son, who was, I think, a football player or a wrestler or something. It's 40 years ago, so it's hard to remember. But Ole brought that up. The Horsemen didn't like that, and that led to a rift with Ole Anderson being kicked out of the Horsemen in early 1987 and replaced with Lex Luger. Now, what we got here is kind of a little bit of a reverse with that. Tully Blanchard was part of the catalyst to that. Tully Blanchard, again, is saying that I don't care about your family to FTR, who then summarily go, nope, you're out, you're fired. And they fired Tully Blanchard. I'm wondering where this is going to go, if this is going to lead to Arn Anderson now taking over as the manager of FTR. Are they going to try to recruit Arn, or are they going to draw that out, which would be kind of cool? Because Arn, remember, he was an Anderson. He's there for his son Brock. I don't know. Maybe there's something there. And Tully, is Tully done with an on-air role in AEW, or is he going to go recruit somebody like the Briscoes? Is he going to go after somebody like Red Dragon? Where is he going to wind up? Lots of confusing things going on. It seems the Pinnacle is a little bit disheveled right now in itself. Thunderosa and legit Leyla Hirsch had a number one contender eliminator match. I hate those things, but this match was Man, yeah, I'm worried about Thunder Rosa because this is two matches she's had back to back that are high profile matches, but the audience didn't seem to be into them. So I'm a little bit concerned about her star. Thunder Rosa, she still gets a great pop coming to the ring. Her matches are good, but I think there's just something missing there. But I think we may get that back now that the rumors have come true that Thunder Rosa will be challenging Britt Baker next week in her hometown for the AEW Women's Championship inside a steel cage to keep out Jamie Hayter and to keep out Reba, whatever her name is. Brings up an interesting thing I saw on Twitter. There's a lot of weird stuff I saw on Twitter, but one of the things was there was some guy who was talking about how, the wrestling journalists never break the news about AEW surprises, but they always break the news about WWE surprises. The bias is unreal. Like, you know, the funny thing about delusional people is they say delusional things that just make no sense. And like on this show in itself, there are a couple of things that were spoiled. We've known, if you pay attention to Twitter, wrestling social media, that the plan was at Thunder Rosa's hometown for Thunder Rosa to take on Britt Baker in a cage for the AEW World Women's Championship, which they never announced. They never hinted to a cage match. They never did anything on AEW TV, but all the fans knew about it because the journalists have leaked it. Everybody's been talking about somebody else who's going to show up. I'll talk about that big thing in a second. A lot of things that happen in AEW are leaked. So again, it's another one of those examples of maybe you should just stay off of social media. The Andrade Hardy family office is now officially over, thank God, because it was one of the weakest factions in the entirety of wrestling. Matt Hardy got a vote of no confidence from everybody, including his boys Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn of Private Party. They did the whole thumbs up, thumbs down thing. They all started beating up on Matt Hardy. We got Sting and Darby Allin taking her sweet ass time to get to the ring to make the save, but they're a little overwhelmed too because there's a lot of the Andrade family office. But then what happened? We all knew it. The crowd was cheering for it. Again, it was spoiled on the internet ahead of time, but the worst kept secret in all of AEW. Jeff Hardy makes his debut, comes out, makes sure he does his little, you know what I was really impressed by is the fact, because I did not know that was stock music, but the Hardy music, WWE never actually owned that music. It's licensed stock music that I know. I'm now thinking back on it. I have heard that music used in commercials and other things, but it never dawned on me. When I heard the music, I was like, whoa, they used the WWE theme? That's crazy, but it's not a WWE theme. So AEW bringing back the Hardy Boyz. I've seen some people like it, some people didn't, and I think there's a lot they could do. Now we got tag team matches now. The Hardy Boyz versus Private Party I want to see, but I think eventually it's going to lead to the Hardy Boyz versus Sting and Darby Allin, which could be pretty cool as well. Hangman Paige defended the AEW Championship against Dante Martin. This is kind of Dante's send-off song before he gets back into the tag division. This is a pretty cool match. It reminded me kind of like the old school Bret Hart defending the WWF Championship against, Virgil or, the 1-2-3 Kid on television. That's what Bret Hart did in his first title run, which made Bret Hart's first title run really cool. And we got to see a lot of that here from Hangman Page. I thought it was pretty cool. Hangman wins the match, tells Dante, one day you're going to be back here and I'll be happy to fight you again. Adam Cole Bay comes out and he says, hey, I'm going to challenge you, Paige, to a 6-man tag next week with 2 guys that know you so well. And it all seemed like he was setting up to say that it was going to be the Young Bucks. And he was going to get the Young Bucks to go up against Paige. But the Bucks later on said, no, we told you. Anything involving Heyman, we're not involved with, all right? We're not going to come out to do anything involving Heyman. That's, we're not going to play that game. Adam Cole a little bit pissed off going, I was going to choose you guys anyway. I was going to choose Red Dragon. Right. So again, this is that slow burn storytelling thing that they did. The Elite always are so good at this about mixing their friendships and getting all of that kind of who's friends with who and are you going to side with me over this other person, yada, yada, yada. That's always been what they do. That's their booking strategy. And for the most part, it tends to work. Now, with Kenny Omega still out for the foreseeable future, I'm not sure where this is going, but if it's going to lead to the Bucks teaming up with Hangman, we'll have to see where that's going. Plus, you also have to keep in mind, Don Callis made an appearance at the pre-show for AEW Revolution, and I don't think that's by accident. So where is Don Callis going to fit into all of this? Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley, my new favorite tag team in the entire world, with William Regal, William Regal as their manager, and they were taking on the indie sensation of the Workhorsemen. Which was, I mean, this was a fun match. This was a fun squash match. The whole point of this match was for us to get to see Moxley and Bryan working as an efficient, destructive, violent machine, which they are. And then we got Regal's promo, which ran a little bit too long. He started rambling, but give the guy a break. You know, this is his first promo. He went on a little bit long, but I loved the promo, and he got a little weepy. I thought for a second when he was there with Tony Schiavone, I was like, you remember? I remember the last time William Regal was on TBS, and it was at the end of or TNT, and it was at the end of Nitro, the very last Nitro. I remember Steven Regal at the time. William Regal was in WWF, and he talked about how dreadful a place WCW was on Raw. Meanwhile, on Nitro, Tony Schiavone had said, "Man, yeah, we had to do a lot of things like can't put your ass over." I was wondering if they were going to bring that back, but they didn't because there's a lot deeper friendship with Tony Schiavone and William Regal apparently. But I love this combination of Regal, Bryan, and Moxley. I think it's going to be great. Now, we know Moxley's not going to stand for this for too long, but while we got it, let's enjoy it. The AEW World Tag Team Championships were on the line when Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, the Jurassic Express, defended against the Acclaim. Another great match. The Acclaim needs to start winning matches, though. You know, I think they're not hurt by any of these losses too much, but I think they need to start winning a little bit more than they have. I don't care if it's just, you know, them in a match against whoever. I just need to see the Acclaim win a match on Dynamite some point in time because they are too damn good, and they're growing and becoming bigger and bigger stars. So I love this match. Jungle Boy is crazy. Luchasaurus is crazy. The tag team division, again, we've always said AEW had a great tag team division, but they just continue to knock it out of the park. And I give me more. Give me more. Give me more. In the main event, we have to note, though, that it was the TNT Championship. Sammy Guevara defending against Scorpio Sky, a match that Scorpio Sky has been wanting a long time, a match that I said we should have had a long time ago, and it finally happened. Sammy wipes himself out very early by trying to do a 450 outside the ring through Scorpio Sky through the table. The only thing he went through was the table and almost the floor. In the end, it was Paige Van Zandt basically throwing Ty Conte into the steps at ringside that distracted Darby long enough for Scorpio Sky to hit the TKO and pin him clean in the middle of the ring to become the new TNT champion, to become the first man to ever hold both the TNT and the AEW World Tag Team Championships. And of course, he is the first, if I'm not mistaken, he's the first singles black champion in AEW, which is going to draw, you know, we're going back to the Big Swole controversy. It's going to draw a lot of questions over the next week. There's going to be people asking, and they already are. I know they are. Because Scorpio Sky is now going to have to defend against Wardlow, who came out and revealed the whole backstory between him and MJF, basically completed his face turn in a very WWE kind of promo that he gave, actually. But it sounded very scripted and stilted, so Wardlow got to work on the promos. But I got the story from him. But the question is, Wardlow being an unstoppable force, is Scorpio Sky going to be a one-week champion, which is going to anger a lot of people if that happens? Or, as we all expect, because he wasn't on the show this week, is MJF going to absolutely ruin Wardlow's shot at the TNT Championship? I think it's almost a guarantee. And I'm going to want to see what's going on with Scorpio Sky. Is he going to be a good TNT champion? We know that the guy's got skills. We know he's got chops. We know he probably should have been a singles champion a lot earlier in his AEW career. But hey, we're here now. Let's see what they do with it. Let's see what kind of a run he has with it. TNT Championship runs don't last that long. These guys basically defend the title every single week, either on Rampage or on Dynamite. It's the most defended championship in AEW, to be honest with you. So I don't expect the title reign to go much more than a couple months, but let's see what we get from out of Scorpio Sky as the TNT champion. And where does Sammy Guevara go now? I assume, considering that Paige Van Zandt signed her AEW contract on the luscious, juicy, beautiful, gorgeous ass. Yes, I said it. I'm a heterosexual guy. That's what we like. We like women's bodies. Since she signed it on her ass, I have to think that this is going to lead to an intergender match, which would be kind of cool, but hopefully they don't linger on that too long and we can move along and get Scorpio Sky incorporated with other things. Possibly a returning Miro, who also in news regarding AEW, just signed a 4-year contract extension with AEW. He's been out with his hamstring injury for a while, and he'll be back. And you know, God's favorite champion will want him to go after the TNT Championship again. I think this is a good follow-up to Revolution. They're setting up new things. They're just, and this is what I am used to from watching 90s wrestling. WCW and WWF back in the day used to do this all the time. They build up to a pay-per-view, and the next night after the pay-per-view is over, we start our new slew of stories that are going to take us to the next big event. But that's just my opinion. I want to know your opinion. Tell me what you guys thought about this week's episode of AEW Dynamite. Do you like Scorpio Sky being a new TNT champion? What do you think about the tag division? Do you think FTR is going to get a new manager? Is it going to be Arn Anderson or somebody else? Are we going to get the Briscoes coming in? What's next for Hangman Page, Adam Cole, the Elite, Red Dragon, and that whole drama? And what are we going to expect out of William Regal now that he is managing the destructive force of Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson? Let your voice be heard in the comment box below. Until next time, I will see you guys here for more news, rumors, and commentary right here on the Rantin Review Pro Wrestling. Have a good day.